template that I got from our content enhancement training that I took. And I know we've used things like Venn diagrams for comparisons before, but these wonderful new templates that I have come in very handy. Our current chapter that we've been reading about African culture and trade during the Middle Ages, we're going to continue with that. Two of the biggest divides, very easily to see, were the West African and East African modes of trade and politics and also religion, the way that both became Islamic but in different ways. We're going to actually look at all those using our comparison charts that I have Xeroxed for everybody to use here. All right, so we have West Africa and East Africa. And our template gives us room to write characteristics excuse me, for both. I've started us out here with the government aspect of things. In the West, we have empires, for example.
Mali, Songhai, Ghana.
Who was first?
Ghana.
Ghana, right. Ghana, Mali, Songhai. Good, but you get the right idea. Then, on the East Coast, we have what?
City-states.
City-states, right. Just like in ancient Greece, they had small little individual city-states that traded with whom?
India, and
China,
Arabia.
India, Arabia, good. Everybody's right on? Right? Okay. What are some other characteristics that are different between West and East Africa?
In East Africa, they spoke Swahili primarily.
Swahili, good. Which was a lingua franca, a language of commerce. Part of the back there.
In West Africa, they mostly moved by camels.
Good, good. We had camel caravans doing the trade for us. As long as we're on modes of transport, if we're using camel caravans in the, what kind of geographical climate? Desert.
It would most likely be desert.
Excellent. And then if we're on the Swahili coast over here, what sort of transportation might we be using?
Ocean trade.
Yes. Which particular ocean?
The Indian Ocean.
Great. Oceanic trade. On the Indian, and the name of those famous winds that blow across the Indian Ocean.
Monsoons.
The monsoons, lovely. We'll put that on there too. All right, so we're getting the idea here. We're using different characteristics, right? Did you have anything to say there, Michelle?
Yes, I also wanted to add, on East Africa, didn't they have a more Indian influence?
Absolutely, because of this. Trade with India, it only makes sense that they're trading on the Indian Ocean, and with Indians, that they're going to have more of an Indian influence, as where these folks were trading what sort of materials with the camel caravans?
Salt and gold.
Salt for gold with whom?
The Arabians.
Yes, from... Who's up in here? What ocean is that?
Mediterranean.
Mediterranean. Salt for gold. Along from the Mediterranean folks on the coast. Exactly. So what I'd like you guys to do is to get with your shoulder partners and continue to find some more characteristics and fill in your boxes for West and East Africa. Then the extensions. Let me explain what the extensions are about. What else in the chapter on African trade and culture that does not deal with East and West necessarily, but that has to do along with trade in mid-Africa anyway? Yeah.
Well, I think we could talk about the Southern African empires.
Southern African empires. Excellent idea. Why not? The southern ones. We're talking about East and West up top. So in the South, who do we have in the South?
Great Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe, and who else?
Mutapa.
Mutapa? Good. Let's do those. We'll start with those. Zimbabwe. Mutapa. Terrific. All right. So that's what we mean by extensions. Things that are related to these guys but are different from. Like categories and unlike categories. I'd like you to get with your shoulder partners and discuss the different categories and that are similar and that are dissimilar, and see what you come up with for like and unlike categories, and then we'll examine it together as a class and take it from there and see what kinds of corrections and clarifications that we might need to come up with. Okay? All right, so why don't we go ahead and get with our partners and start to work on that, carrying on with this chapter, okay? And I'll circulate and help you guys as needed. Alrighty?